How many chances do we have to right or wrong? Sometimes you just don't know what tomorrow will bring, but yet sometimes we will assume that we have enough time. Everyone has different opportunities. We're all given certain opportunities to ride out. What we choose to do with those opportunities goes right back to who the individuals are. Sometimes we will be in a relationship with a person and we will assume that this person is really not a big deal, and we'll move on to someone else and forget about that past person. Now that you've moved on and you're with your new person, everything is vibing on a whole different level. Everything's great. Everything's grand for that period of time. Now the representative has left the building. Now this person is now showing you who they truly are. Now it's too late. You break up with this person, now you're trying to go find that last person. That last person is no longer available. How many of us have taken advantage of another individual, taken advantage of another heart, not looked at that individual as they are that important? Sometimes we'll assume a person is one way and not even know who that person really was. In life, we have been placed with so many different experiences, so many different platforms. We are here to learn and to grow. Now, what you do today might affect not only your life, but another person's life. Are we looking at all of that? Some people you haven't even spoken to in years. You forgot about that person who you thought was finer than wine. You thought that person was the great Poupon of people. You thought that person was the highest frequency of meeting a person ever. But how easily you lost touch with that person and you forgot about that person. But now, since you're solo, now since you're no longer with an individual, you're looking back and you're saying, wow, that person was really great. We all have made mistakes. Nobody's perfect. We all have experienced different things. No one is that forgettable. However, if they are, if you can't remember that person's first name or even last, and you bump into them in the street and you say, wow, it's been a while, how are you doing? You exchange information, you go out on a date with that person. Now you're out on a date with the person and you're wondering, how is it that you missed this one beautiful individual? But that person now is only meeting you for a period of time because there's someone else in the picture. We sometimes take too much for granted. We sometimes remove a person out of our lives quickly without even so much as a question about it. I've been gifted with different siblings who've definitely called me on a few things in the past or present. And they've said, look, is there one person who you met, who you know for sure you may have missed that boat with? That could have been the person. And I had to think about that one. No, I don't think so. Now, I might say that today and then cross paths with a person who I totally forgot about. And then say, wow, perhaps I did. Nobody is perfect. However, everyone is still a life force. God granted you the gift of being in a person's frequency for a period of time or not. This means everyone should be treated with a certain amount of respect. Everyone should be treated the way that you would like to be treated. I recently had an argument with a ticket person. I forgot what you call them, ticket jockey, whoever the person is who puts a ticket on your vehicle. And I had an argument. The guy misunderstood what I was trying to say. And I did not feel like I should argue with this man. So I walked away from the situation. I was gifted the opportunity to see him again off duty, where I approached him and I tried to clarify what the problem was. And he said, you know, I totally misunderstood what you were saying. I'm sorry, my darling, I'm sorry. And I told him, I said, look, it's no big deal. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear, because the last thing I would want is for us to have a misunderstanding and for us to see each other in a situation, and you might need help or I might need help, and then, you know, would not even feel comfortable enough to even speak to the person. And he said, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. Never thought of it. And I know I'm probably doing a horrible job of his accent, but either way, nothing is coincidence. We cross paths with people for reasons, unknown sometimes, and sometimes we do know. However, when you become more than just friends and you're learning about the person and you're growing, you cannot assume things then either. I once had a conversation with a guy who I was in a relationship with. And while we were speaking, his words did not match what he was thinking. And I know that sounds weird. Why? What is she talking about? When you cross a certain path in a relationship, a certain period of time and period of growth, I'll say, you get to a point where you get to know this person on a totally different level. Now, I didn't think that I even had the tune-in gift, I'll say, because I've seen it with my siblings and I've seen it with my mother, the connection that she had with my father, or the person who I thought was my father at the time. It's important that we don't take certain things for granted. In this relationship, I was able to see certain things, and I moved out of the way when I was supposed to. You sometimes have to divide yourself, separate yourself from a situation when you see oncoming traffic. You see, a building can collapse, but if you feel the vibrations before that happens, you might have the chance to move out of the way. We as individuals, sometimes we don't see the destruction before the actual situation happens. You can sometimes be out in nature. That was the whole point. Going out in nature and becoming grounded helps you to be able to decipher things before they actually occur. I know that this might be coming across very crazy, and I know that some people might see things very differently. However, we are all given certain gifts, and some people are not waking up as yet, and some people have already awakened. He could probably tell me some things. We are going through Mercury retrograde right now, which means there's certain breaking down that has to occur before everything is straight. It's a balancing of sorts. It's when you have other people, you have people from your past come into your present, okay? Sometimes it's because you need to add closure. If the door is not closed just yet and it's about to close, maybe that person might try to slide in before the door is completely closed. Now, people from my past already know that the door is closed. I don't reopen the door. There's no reopening event happening. I feel as though I presented myself as me. I feel like I've invested enough, and that's everything is done. So, but this might not be the case with everyone. Some people might feel like, you know what, let me try it one more time. We all have a life to live. And sometimes when you take your time and you don't invest it in the right things, you find yourself wasting time and you find yourself regretting. Now, I'm choosing not to regret. I'm choosing to move forward. There's so much work at hand. And anyone who knows me knows that I have to do my work before I go to play. So I've already put in a lot of work today, and I wish well on everyone. Even those who have done me wrong, I forgive you and I move forward. But I'm not backtracking. You see, sometimes when you backtrack, you spend so much time trying to fix what once was that you forget and you lose perspective on what is now. You don't have a lot of time to commit to one project before that next project is to begin. Every time we decide we are going to invest our time, we want to make that time appreciative. We want to appreciate that time that we have. We want to invest as much as needs to be invested in. So while we're moving ahead, while we're letting things go and moving in a whole different direction, it's important that we look at all of the factors and balance it all out before deciding to make that final decision. Now, I'm praying to God for the decisions that I'm making. I'm praying to God and I'm asking for direction in all that it is that I'm doing. You know, we speak of a lot of different things that we need to do, but sometimes when we're doing more talking than carrying out the action, we're wasting a lot of time. You know, I tried to make the same video so many times and somehow I ended up saying too much or saying too little. It's important that we try to take our time to do what it is that we're trying to accomplish. But at the same time, when you're in a relationship, it's important that you enjoy those moments as they progress. I recently met a woman who just lost her husband, and she was really looking back at all the time that she did not appreciate. You know, again, your past is your past, your present is what you're working on, and your future is tomorrow. So while we are allowing ourselves to carry ourselves in the energies that must be played out today, let us appreciate them as they are moving forward. You know, there are a great deal of people who have been in relationships and they've thrown things out the window and they've said, you know, that person wasn't even worth my time. They were in that time span, so they were meant to be in that time span, and now it's time to move forward. You can appreciate each individual, and you can choose to acknowledge the different lessons that you've learned, because recently this woman was saying that the people in her life didn't matter anymore. Now, everyone matters, I believe. And even in a relationship that went bad, you learned something from that individual. Or at least I hope you did. I believe I've learned from each individual who has played part in my life, even a dog on the street, because they also have feelings. They also have a spirit that lies within. You know, so as we are moving and approaching each day, let us appreciate each moment as it is and grow from each moment. But make sure that you are not taking people for granted and assuming that that person was not worth, because everyone was worth your time that you spent any period of time with. And beyond all of that, let us grow and move forward and know that God is placing people in our lives to teach us different lessons. And while we're learning these lessons, we need only say thank you. So I'm saying thank you for taking the time to come to this platform today. And at Indigo Moon, we want to appreciate you for being who you are, because you are special. Remember that. And on that note, have a wonderful day.